When programming, you can use many different data structures to store data, such as variables, lists, and dictionaries. Using these data structures is easy and convenient, but they have a flaw. As soon as your code ends, you lose your data. Storing data allows you to retain information for later use. To do this, you need to write the data to a file. So let's see how we're going to do this. First, we're going to create a new program and we're going to save it and we're going to name it write to file. Now, our first instruction has a couple of things we need to notice. First of all, we use the open function to open a text file. The name of the text file is names.txt. And this function takes a second parameter, which is w, and we use this parameter because we're going to write to the text file. Now there's another variable f, and we use this variable to handle our file more easily. Now the second thing we need to do is ask for some data from the user. Now be aware, if you have an existing file, also called names.txt, Python will delete the contents of that file and overwrite it with the data from this project. So we need to take the data from the user, and for this reason, I'm going to use a variable called name, and I'm going to use the input function, and I'm going to ask what is your name? For example, hello, what is your name? After I've done that, a good idea is to use a print function to show the name that the user entered back to the screen, just to make sure that the code is running well up to there. So print hello, and then now, another good idea is to leave just a space there, so when we print back the name, it doesn't come up as one word. Now, we need to write this back on the file. In order to do this, we're going to use the write method. And we use f, our variable that we have to handle the file, and write. And inside the write method, we're going to put the information that we need to add to the file, which in this case is the variable name. Now, a method is simply a function that belongs to or is part of another structure called a class, which in this case is a file. Methods work in the same way as functions, but are called slightly differently. Now, the write method handles all of the tasks needed to open and write data to a file. The last thing we need to do is close the file. And for this reason, I'm going to use the close method. It's good practice to close the file properly each time you finish, so the close method is used to reduce the risk of data loss. Now let's run the program. I'm going to add first name, and then I'm going to go to the text file. And as you can see, the name appears in the file. Now run the code again, entering a different name, and then reopen the file. So this time, I'm going to use a different name, and then I'm going to go back, and we can see that the name is now different. So you'll notice that the contents of the file have been overwritten with a new name. So we can create and we can replace files, but not update them. To add more than one name in the file, you will need to append to the file. The dictionary definition of append is to add to the end of a written document, and the same is true in programming. To enable your program to append to a file, you only need to make two changes. So the first change I'm going to make is I'm going to go to the open function and I'm going to change W to A because now we need to append. And the second change, I'm going to go to the write method and I'm going to add a /n at the end. /n stands for new line. You need to add a /n at the end because this inserts a new line after the name has been appended. Without the /n, your data will be saved to the file, but as a single long line of text. So now it's time to save and run the program a few times. So I'm going to run it once more. And a second time. And now I'm going to go and check the text file. So in the text file, we can see that we added 2 names and both names appear there. Laura appears on the first line. So we appended Laura at the end of the previous name that we added. Then we added a new line. Therefore, Alicia appears in the line underneath. Can you think of an example where you might want to write to a file rather than append it? Let us know in the comment section.